All right, Shalom, Shalom. It's the brother Kadash. Want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kadash. We gonna jump straight into it. Giving my computer some time to warm up so I can look up some precepts. So this is going on the multiple wives things, which we've been here plenty of times, but it's a good lesson, right? Because I got an argument about it, and that led to IUIC. Because IUIC is one of the big groups that's teaching man can't have multiple wives. And really, they never said, because I watched, so after I had my little argument back and forth about it, I went and watched Bishop Nate and the leadership of IUIC to see exactly what they're saying. Because, this is where women go. Women say, well, IUIC, I want to join IUIC. What a coincidence, right? So, of course, if I was making, I'm not saying this is what's going on, but I'm saying if I was making millions of dollars and I had a lot of women in my congregation, majority, if not half, and I was making a lot of money because women are the biggest consumers, of course you will want to cater to what those women feel. All the men want multiple wives, all the women don't want multiple wives. Which side do you go with? Of course you go with the women because the women are the biggest consumers. What a coincidence. I'm just throwing it out there. What a coincidence. So of course you would teach that. But in the lesson that I seen him bringing out, he brought out this one. He brought out that the Lord was going to give us 100-fold, meaning the Lord was going to give. So he's saying that we can't have multiple wives. They had multiple wives in the past because they was in kingdom and they wasn't in captivity. Now today we can't have multiple wives because we in captivity. But when we get to the kingdom, the Lord is going to give us 100-fold of wives. You see what I'm saying? So it's just confusion. The law is the law. Either we can have wives, multiple wives, or not. But he never once said that it was a sin to have multiple wives. I don't know why these guys do this, man. The pastors of the Christian churches, they do the same thing, man. They make these claims that they know they can't keep. Years just like with Yahweh ben Yahweh. Years go by down the road, then you find out that they got multiple wives, or it was a scandal that they was dealing with multiple women. Why? I understand men are doing it because of money. And they cater into women's feelings, because when women come into the truth, the hardest test for them really is, can a man have multiple wives, not being jealous over another woman? So what happens is a test, right? So when they come in the truth, where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go to the camp that they don't have to do that. You know what I mean? They can follow the Lord every other way, but when it comes to multiple wives or submitting to your husband that wants multiple wives to his will, they don't want to do that. So of course you go to where a camp that still makes you feel like you following the Lord. You and the true Christians do the same thing, but they don't get to have multiple wives. You go to a camp that suits you, which is crazy, but then they say, this is what they bring out, Mark 10, verse 30. But he shall receive 100-fold now in his time, houses, brother, sister, mother, children, lands, persecutions in the world, to come eternal life. Here, let me go back, because actually I'm not even looking in Mark. I want it in Matthews 19. This is Matthews 19, verse 29. And everyone that has forsaken houses, brother, sister, and father, mother, or wife, children, or lands, in my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. So this is simple ABC. This is simple. If you forsaken your house, you're going to receive 100 houses. If you forsaken brother, you're going to receive 100 brethren in the kingdom. If you forsake, which is going to come by the way of man having 100 sisters, right? If you forsaken your father, you're going to have, now we're not saying you're going to have 100 blood fathers, right? But you're going to have 100 father figures. And really the number is unlimited, man. Because you're going to have your grandpa, your great grandpa, because we're going to live for it said 1,000 years. That's the least amount. So how many fathers are you going to have, man? Jacob's going to be there. Isaac's going to be there. Abraham's going to be there. Aren't those all our fathers, right? Or wife, or mothers. Same thing going with your mothers, right? Grandmother, great-grandmother, great-grandmother, or wives. So you're going to have 100 wives, 100 children, 100 lands for my name's sake. And this is a promise. So IUIC is teaching that the Lord promised us that we're going to have 100 wives in the kingdom. So, I mean, it's a good play, because the man that want to have multiple wives, you still telling them that, okay, we gonna have a hundredfold in the kingdom, so they satisfied. And then the women that don't want to have multiple wives, that don't want their men to have multiple wives, you telling them, well, man can't have multiple wives right now, so then they satisfied. But this is the problem. What is the truth, though? If it's not a sin, you can't say that when a brother has multiple wives, you can't condemn him for it because it's not a sin. That's the very simple, right? Then let's go. And you guys know this, and it should be in the book of Romans, verse 5. Romans chapter 5, verse 13. Right? For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. Meaning, you can't sin if there's no law. So you could guess, right? And all he's doing, and what he should do to clean it up, if he did this, I give him respect on this situation. You get respect on other situations. All camps do. All camps got bad things about them. All camps got good things about them. I would give him more respect if he did what Apostle Paul did. He said, this is not of God. This is not of God. Not of God. God is not saying this. But I'm saying this. Based off my judgment of these times. That a man should not have multiple wives. But God is not saying it. That's all he got to say. And everything he's saying is good from there. But when you make it seem like you go into the Bible and then you make a man feel like they're condemned if they have multiple wives, then that's where there's a problem. Let's go here. Psalms 50 KJV. When you teaching that you going off if a man has multiple wives, then that's where the problem is at. Just say, hey, this is not of God. Apostle Paul did it. This is what I think. And this is where Sakari gets points on this, because they're the ones that's been bringing out, hey, everything that Paul's saying, he's not saying this is of God. Which means that if a man don't follow it or follow it that way, you cannot condemn him. Because you would have to find it in the law. And I'm going to go to that next, right? Now, this is Psalms chapter 50. And I'm going to get... No, not this one, not this one. I think I got the wrong one. Psalms 40. And this is what it comes down to. Psalms chapter 40, verse 8. No, verse 7. Then I said, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me. I delight to do thy will, O my God, yeah, thy law is within my heart. So that's what it's about. Not my own heart, because the heart is wicked. Who could understand that thing? The Bible tells you that. It's the law that's in your heart. That's what you're basing everything off of. Not because I feel that we're in captivity. If that's the case, if we can't have multiple wives because we're in captivity, but we're gonna have multiple wives in the kingdom, then if that's the case, then we shouldn't even have wives, period. Wasn't Paul talking about that? We shouldn't have wives, period, then, because we're in captivity. What we gonna have wives for when we in captivity? You ain't getting them as virgins. So you committing adultery because you're not getting them as virgins anyways. So we shouldn't even have wives. Wives shouldn't even be a thing right now then. If that's the case, if we can't have multiple wives just because we're in captivity, then we shouldn't have wives, period, because we're in captivity. We shouldn't have jewelry. We shouldn't have diamonds. None of us should have gold. We shouldn't have cars. We shouldn't have jobs. Didn't Acts chapter 2, the apostles, did they sell everything they had and put it into a pot? We should all be, didn't Yahweh said, follow me, and was telling them, roughly paraphrasing, to leave their jobs and follow me? Then we all should leave our jobs and quit our jobs and all our businesses. Don't have no gold, jewelry, don't have no cars, don't have no wives, because we in captivity, and we all should just come together and figure out how to follow the Lord so we can get out of here. If that's the case. Oh, no, but you can't have multiple wives because these women feel that way and they gonna give me money. But you can still have cars. You can still have gold. You can still have jewelry. You can still have businesses. But you can't have multiple wives because we in kingdom. Because we in captivity. Come on, man. Shit's crazy. Psalms 40, verse 8. I delight to do thy will. Not my own will, but the Lord's will. Oh my God, yeah, the law is within my heart. I have preached righteousness in a great congregation. What's righteousness in a great congregation? A man can have multiple wives. That's righteousness. Lo, I have refrained my lips, O Lord, thou knowest. I have not refrained my lips. Knowing that it's not a sin for a man to have a multiple wives, but telling your congregation, your great congregation, that a man's going off if he do and he shouldn't have multiple wives right now, that's refraining your lips from the truth. Now let's keep going. So when Bishop Nate started to bring up anybody, IUIC, any members of the Hebrew Israelite, if he starts to bring up his precepts on the multiple wives, ask him, is it a sin to have multiple wives? Yes or no? Give me a yay or nay answer. Watch them dance around it. Now, verse 10, I have not hidden my righteousness, thy righteousness within my heart. It's righteous for a man to have multiple wives. The Lord sends man multiple wives. Says, I have not hidden. You hiding the righteousness, man. And you was going off when you was on that podcast and they asked you, do you hate Edomites? And you said no. Every leader that gets to the top, they always get to a point in they journey where they get on some type of big podcast. Happened with ISUPK too, leaders, and the white man sitting across from you, and he asks you, do you hate white men? And you know what he mean. You know he mean, do you hate Edomites? And they all fold and say no. That's the difference. But what did the Lord say in Romans 9? He said he hate Esau. So you don't hate him? He said he hates his enemies. You don't hate him? So this is why I was trying to explain to this person, this is about following the Lord, not man. Because they kept saying, well, IUIC says this. I said, but what did the Lord say, though? See, people get caught up with following man and worshiping man rather than just reading the Bible and seeing what's in the Bible. If these men are saying things that's contrary to the Bible, then you follow the Bible, not man. And that's the hardest thing to do for people. Let's keep going. I have not hid thy righteousness within my heart. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. I have not concealed the loving kindness and thy truth from the great congregation. You concealing some of the truth, man. What if the Lord sends a man multiple wives? He can't take the other wife? When it was set up in the spirit for this man to take this woman as a wife, but now he feel guilty about doing it because you told him something? That's why you got to go off the spirit. If a man gets multiple wives, it was the spirit that led him to do it. If he don't get one wife, then the Lord didn't have that in store for him. Right? So that's why you can't make these man laws and mix them with the laws of the Lord, because now you're getting in the way of the spirit. Right? Now let's keep going. Withhold not thy tender mercies from me, O Lord. Let thy loving kindness and thy truth, that's what it's about. Continually preserve me. That's what it's about. The truth, which is found where? This Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20. Y'all know this, man. To the law and to the testimonies. So in the law, statutes, and commandments, which in Exodus 21 says, if a man takes another wife, he just can't reduce his first wife. Deuteronomy 21 says that if a man has two wives, not one, and then get rid of one, it says if he has two, right? And then many other men had wives. And you don't know if men had wives doing multiple wives during the time of Yahushua. You can't make the bold statement and say, because we don't see it in the Bible, that every man that was an Israelite during the time Yahushua walked the earth, none of them had multiple. You don't know that. It don't say if they did or they didn't. So you don't know if when Yahushua was walking the earth, if there was men that had multiple wives and they were practicing that. You don't know. They could have very well been. So you can't say, well, the man that you see that had multiple wives, they were in the kingdom. Okay, when we were in the Babylonian captivity, you don't know if Israelites had multiple wives. You don't know what happened with every Israelite, man. When we were in the Greek captivity or the Persian and Medes captivity before that one, you don't know if man had multiple wives. You telling me no Israelite man had multiple wives in the Roman captivity? Or in the Greek captivity? The Greeks, they were all sexing each other and shit like that. They got that from the Egyptians, man. And you telling me you want to bet, you will bet your salvation that no Israelite man during the Greek captivity had multiple wives. You see how foolish that is? So you can't just say, well, the only man that had multiple wives was they had a kingdom and they were in captivity. I'm sure men had multiple wives when they were in captivity too. Just like in America, we are in captivity and you have Israelite men with multiple wives in the truth and out the truth. So it don't matter whether we in captivity or kingdom. That does not decipher the whether we keep the laws of the Lord, or if you could condemn a man for keeping the laws of the Lord, or if we can have multiple wives or not. That's something man-made that you're making up to say you can't have it because they were in the kingdom. We're not. We're in captivity. It don't say that in the Bible, though. What it says in the Bible is keep the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your abilities. Not one jot shall pass. So if a man has multiple wives, there's laws that tell him how to deal with multiple wives. That has not passed. So then that leads back to a man, can I have multiple wives? Simple, man. But we got man worshipers. People that want to worship man. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So if you speak not according to the law and the testimonies, now there's no word, there's no life in you, man. You got to speak, there's no light in them. You got to speak according to this. So if I want to tell the congregation so I can make money off the woman that a man can't have multiple wives, I got to come on and tell the truth, man. I can't conceal that truth. I got to say, hey, I know y'all don't like it, but man can have multiple wives. Now, I speak this not of the Lord, but of me. I'm going to tell the man, if you follow me, I'm not going to condemn you. I'm not going to punish you if you do have multiple wives, but I'm going to tell you that it's not good to right now, unless you are well off to do so, unless your woman is willing to do so. But it's going to cause a lot of dividing. But the Lord said that was going to happen. So why even be scared of that, right? The Lord said there was going to be division. The truth is supposed to divide. See, man. Here, let me see. The truth is supposed to divide, man. And you got to let that happen naturally, man. Nope, not right there. Damn, what precept was that? You got to let that happen naturally. You can't try to get in the way of that. Okay, 53. I was there. Luke chapter 12, verse 53. The father should be divided against his son. You can't stop that. What's going to divide them? The truth, man. The truth is what's going to divide father against the son. And the son against his father. The mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother. The mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. What's going to divide up families like that? Even wives and husbands. What? The truth. The truth. I can have multiple wives. She don't want to get down with it. She don't want to submit to her husband. She get divided out. That's the sifting process, man. You can't try to jump in the way of that and stop that so you can get money. You can't do that, man. You gotta allow that to happen. If you got a congregation of women, they mad at the fact that it's not against the law and it's not a sin for a man to have multiple wives, and the man want to have multiple wives, then that's how you sift out the ones that's not really about this, man. Let's go back to